discuss professional learning community and kind of just define what it is, why it's important, and talk about how to build a successful professional learning community. But to start out, we'll play a game. I hope you all like puzzles. So you've already taken your puzzles out, and I'm going to give you 2 minutes and see if you can put it together. All right, ready, go. You have about a minute left. 30 seconds. Fifteen seconds.
Oh my God.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stop.
I missed the buttons.
All right, I want you to tear up your puzzle and put it back in the box now.
I could not figure out when these things would save my life.
Some of y'all got close, but no one got it complete.
My picture is too
I
complicated.
literally probably needed like another 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Just leave the pieces in the box. All right. So what we're gonna do now is you're gonna work in a team. You're gonna do a puzzle. I'm gonna switch it up so that way the puzzle's up, so it's not one that you don't know. You can work with the person who's beside you.
Oh yeah, we want this one.
Oh, I wish I would have seen that picture.
Are you serious?
All right, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to complete, see if the two of you can put it together. Ready? Begin. y'all getting close.
Of course.
We're finished.
Oh, yes! 30 seconds.
Okay.
Second.
We are.
Yeah, it's always close. Always good about it.
I told you that one was hard.
All right, 3 done.
You could have done it. So,
Let's see the picture.
That one is a
10
lot harder.
seconds.
Yeah.
5,
Five.
4,
That.
3, 2, 1. All right, everyone. All right, so what was the difference between doing it by yourself and working with someone else?
it was easier.
Why was it easier?
You had help.
By the work.
Well, technically, we had 4 minutes the second time because we had 2 working 2-minute increments.
Okay. Did you all develop, what kind of strategies did you all use the second time? Did you all communicate with each other or?
Not really, but I just kind of started working on the outside and he just kind of started working on the inside, just like.
Yeah, we saw what each other was doing.
So you tackle different tasks?
And so we can burn each other's brains.
How did you all feel
Kid got cheated.
when you were working on it by yourselves?
But that one's hard.
That one's hard. More working at that.
First 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really.
Dad and we were both having to work, having to work the outside and the inside. And so we were basically repeating the same task. It's kind of like when we split up reading assignments and then share,
Yeah.
everybody takes a part.
Did you all feel overwhelmed when you were doing it by yourself?
A little bit.
I know I could, in 2 minute time period.
All right, we're going to talk about professional learning community, and part of that is working together and kind of understanding how to work with others. All right, professional learning community has been kind of described different situations. It can be a school level, it could be a state level, a national level. But this is a definition from GSKyTeach website. Professional learning communities are teams of teachers that meet on a regular basis for the purposes of learning, joint lesson planning, and problem solving to improve student learning. And you notice that improve student learning, the focus is the students. So the purpose of getting together and helping each other is so that the students can get the benefits. So that is the main goal, focus. So why is a professional learning community important? To share ideas, to improve student learning, to share the workload, like when we put our puzzles together, you split up the task, you kind of work together. Having a common vision is important. We talked about, a lesson plan. It's important to have an objective, something to work for, something that you can measure. And the same thing with a professional learning community. It's good to have a goal, to focus, something to work toward. And you can kind of evaluate yourselves along the way and see if you're meeting that goal or not. And it reduced the isolation of teachers. So like working by yourselves, a puzzle, you all kind of felt overwhelmed. You had to do everything yourself. So that reduces the isolation of teachers. Better informed and committed teachers. If you work together, you're informed about what other teachers are doing. If it's with administration, kind of what the administration expects of the teachers and the curriculum. And the teachers helps to produce motivation too, so you can motivate each other. And of course, the objective is learning and improvement for the students. So I have 4 case studies, and we can work with the partner you were working with for the puzzle, but I'll give you 5 minutes to kind of read through it. This is a new teacher that's coming into a high-needs school, and it describes a professional learning community. So I'll give you all 5 minutes to kind of read over and discuss the questions. All right, begin.
They're on its own.
What I think is talk about students learning.
Maybe she could go into.
Yeah.
How do you think that affects the students? As far as the students in the class.
They're not getting education because they knew there's a problem about it.
So, maybe fix.
Yeah.
Right, that's true.
I felt very good. Just keep understanding.
What do you think?
Yeah, from the because they refuse to help. He's learning.
Be a good news, it's just follow the orders. And not the kind of research that's like, we took a class at 8 in the morning and 11.
Kind of like the video we watched
And,
yesterday.
the 11 o'clock class.
The whole teacher, you know, this is what administration says we do it.
Gary says,
Honestly, could be.
like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would love to have. I think the second one should definitely.
You were like,
Well, I see just I guess that's a separate experience. It's, he doesn't go in, and see it. So no input. Yeah. That's actually.
All right, give you all about another 30 seconds. Finish discussing your ideas.
More questions.
All right, well, what we're going to do now is kind of go around. Each of you all have a different situation. So kind of describe your situation to the rest of the audience here. And talk about the questions. You all have the same questions to analyze with each situation. So, and you know, the questions are, you know, how does the situation affect the student learning? And then how do you think you can improve it to help the students learning too? You all want to start?
Our situation was a character named Chris, and he was a new science teacher. It was his first year teaching in a high needs district or high needs school, and there was no professional learning community there, you know, for support. And so what we were looking at was, you know, he doesn't have the experience, one, nobody really to go to. And one of the things that we had discussed was, in a high-need school, you know, and we went back to the video clip yesterday, when she was in the teacher's lounge, talking to the other professor, you know, unfortunately, some of the teachers that we may be around may not be the ones we would want to go to for help, you know, if they have those attitudes.
How does that affect the student learning?
Well, if they're we talk about how if they're already struggling, then, and they know he's not gonna be able to improve, then they're not gonna put in the effort to improve because they can't get help from him and they don't have anywhere else to go to get help. So the situation is only gonna get worse.
Snowballs.
Yeah. How do you all think you could improve that situation?
Finding some way to find some sort of professional learning community, even if it's like within the district or the state, go to the schools that have successful science programs. And if, like we were talking about, if you don't have teachers that really care in your school, you know, that you can't really go outside of your school to find out.
Okay.
And it may be just as simple as going to a different department too.
Yeah.
You know, not all the teachers in the school are gonna be like the guy in the teacher's lounge, but, you know, there may not be anybody in your particular department or, you know, that teaches your particular subject. And one thing that we've got access to, especially through this program, is, you know, we can always go back to our master teachers and, you know, if we need to, we can, you know, go back up the ladder.
Yeah. Do y'all want to share Brandon and Adrian?
Okay, well, our situation, Ann is also a new science teacher in a high-need school, and they do have or I believe it's the teachers and administrators get together once a week, there it is, to talk about improving learning situations. But they think that they feel that Ann is better than them, so they basically exclude her, don't give her any help whatsoever, don't talk to her. I mean, kind of like, the other day when we watched the movie, again, where, you know, certain teachers just basically excluded her, didn't help her at all with their situation. So, and basically the question was, when her students struggled in the class and she didn't have anyone to talk to, how would she fix this, basically? And we came up with basically joining like the NSTA or any other, you know, big organization for teachers. Maybe doing research, just research on it, or maybe just self-evaluating yourself and trying to identify your strengths and weaknesses and building off those.
Any other ways you think that would affect the students' learning? That kind of situation?
It inhibited quite a bit, I would think, because obviously if the students, either if they're not being productive or they don't understand material and she's not able to get help to design the material to fit them, then they're going to be stuck on that thing and they're not going to progress and get that deep conceptual understanding of material.
Yeah.
So, plus they might lose motivation and focus because they're like, okay, well, she's just doing the same. Because I know there's one class in college that I didn't personally have, but I heard about, that teacher, she was a nice lady, but she just taught to the students over and over and didn't change, and they even asked her to change the way she taught, and she didn't do it. And so students lost all motivation, they just didn't care anymore because they weren't learning anything about the way she was teaching. So.
Yeah, and in that situation, it'd be hard for Ann to give new input, new ideas to change her teaching style. All right, thank you. All right, would you all want to share, Josh and Matt?
Sure. So Brad's a new math teacher, and every week there's a big meeting with the administration of the math department, and they go over sort of, here's what you're going to do this week. Here's, this is what you're going to talk to your students about. Here's how you're going to evaluate them. Extremely sort of organized and rigid. They don't really allow much teacher input at the meetings. It's sort of this is what you're going to do. If you have problems in class, you're encouraged to go to the administration and they will tell you what to do about it.
All right, so this is where the administration pretty much tells the teachers everything that they're supposed to do. So how do you think the situation affects students' learning?
I think the situation affects learning based upon the fact that Brad is not capable of giving his input of how to solve the problem in this class. He just presents the problems to the administration and they tell him how to fix it. He's not free to, fix the problem on his own. He knows what they tell him to do. So, I mean, that the administration may be correct in how the general population, works with a certain solution to a problem, but in Brad's class, he's, the main person to fix the problem in the class because he knows those students and how they operate in this classroom. He would be the most optimal person to, fix the problem in the class as opposed to just a basic overall, set standard for how to face those problems because it may not work in this class. The students are really diverse. So.
Yeah, the administration may give, this is how I want you to solve the problem, and it may not apply.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if you have a cookbook and, tells you how to make a cake, it may work, but if you don't have the right ingredients, it's not gonna matter.
So, how do you think that affects the motivation of the students?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
How do you think that affects the motivation of the students?
I think students are going to be aware of what's going on to a certain extent, that they've got sort of the cookie cutter lesson, and they're not going to be particularly encouraged to try to work with their teacher, or to come to that teacher with problems if his response is going to be, well, let me get back to you tomorrow when I find out what I'm supposed to be doing about this. They're more likely to want to interact with the teacher who's responsive, quickly, flexible, and can deal with them as individuals. So.
Do you all have any ideas on how it might improve the situation for the students?
As far as how to improve, I mean, I think the administration should give him the freedom to solve the problem on his own. Because until they do, the students are really going to be really successful in this class, in my point of view. So.
All right, thank you, Josh and Matt. All right, would you all like to share?
Yeah, we had Julie, new math teacher, same situation. Only once a week, the math teachers and administrators get together and share with each other about what they're teaching, share ideas on how to improve students' learning, provide support and encouragement for each other, evaluate if they're meeting their goals. She's able to go get ideas from their teachers about how to engage students. And she clearly knows what the goals for the department and the school are. This is a very ideal professional learning community.
Yeah, this is a professional learning community that works. So how do you think this affects the student learning?
Well, one thing we got for, she getting ideas on engagement, so the students are more motivated through better engagement. And for learning differences, you have other ideas from more experienced teachers that have been around and have worked with a lot more different scenarios of students.
So kind of motivation, how do you think that affects the motivation of students? So that kind of environment.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any way that you could improve the situation?
Well, it's just the math teachers and administrators right now, so they could expand it so the whole school can have get together.
Or at least other content,
Yeah.
for the grade.
Maybe math and science or something, yeah. Okay. All right, so we've kind of looked at what we all might experience when we get to Jefferson County at the different learning communities. All right, so building an effective community, just kind of recap some of the things we've talked about. Important that the focus is student learning. If you're just getting together to, as teachers, just to get the work done and get home, that's not really going to help the students. So the focus has to be the students learning, and you want to build a culture of collaboration We talked about the story of Josh and Matt. There wasn't really much collaboration there. The administration told the teachers what they needed to do, and that was it. So, but a collaboration where we can share ideas, different engagement activities that you can do, experiments that you can do for the science projects. And it's important to have a common vision and goal to achieve, so everyone's kind of on the same page, working toward a goal. You can evaluate where you are, if you're meeting the goals or not, and if you're not, you can go about changing how you're approaching it. And it helps us for support each other. If other teachers are doing a good job, let them know. And to share ideas. And all of these have been modeled for us by our teachers. So, if we need to understand how to build an effective professional learning community, we have a good example to work off of. So this is modified the 5 E's of building an effective professional learning community. One is engagement. All the teachers need to be engaged, or the administration, or whoever's in the professional learning community, they all need to have a part and be engaged. The exploration, you go to the classrooms as teachers, the trials, the engagement activities, ideas. The explain part, you come back, you communicate with each other, if it worked well, why did it work? If it didn't work well, why didn't it work? You learn from each other. The elaborate part, you learn, you take what you've learned and apply it to new situations in the classroom. And evaluate, you have a goal, an objective to achieve, and you evaluate as you go along. So you kind of understand as a professional learning community where you are. In school, and you need to list 3 things that you think are important to tell the new teacher. And you can turn it in.
I didn't do it. You broke it.
So whenever you get done with the sheets, that you can just hand them to me. I'm done.
You guys finish that up.